What's going on? It's time to talk about a pretty popular horror franchise. So I decided to watch one of the Halloween movies, Halloween H20. 20 years later. Yeah. So this. Well, first off, it was released by Dimension Films, released August 5th, 1998. 20 years after the, just almost 20 years, anyways. After the original Halloween was released. Stars Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously. It was produced by Moustapha Akkad, who would be later ridiculed because he almost killed off the whole series with Halloween Resurrection, but I'll cover that in a later video. It was written by Robert Zappia and Matt Greenberg, and it was directed by the legendary Steve Miner, who has quite the film credits to his name, such as Friday the 13th, Parts 2 and 3, Lake Placid, House, Warlock, Day of the Dead 2008 remake, which is also known as Day of the Dead, The Need to Feed, and Forever Young, to name some of his films. This had a budget, box office earnings of $75 million, which was pretty big for this type of film, a slasher film in the 90s. Because usually they make them for like $5 to $8 million, and this back in the 90s, that's around the average for the budget. So obviously made a substantial profit, and then later we'd get the awful Halloween Resurrection. So yeah, but Halloween H20 is yeah, so it takes place 20 years after the original Halloween. Yeah, Laurie Strode is now a teacher at a college. She has a son that's pretty much 19 or something like that, 20, who is attending the private school, college, or high school, or whatever it is. And yeah. And she's trying to get on with her life. She's still living hard times, having nightmares of her killer brother coming after her and stuff like that. But she's trying to keep her life on track and trying to move forward and move on. And it's been like 20 years since like the last one or something like that. Anyways, yeah, so as they move on, something odd starts happening through the town as a random killer starts coming back and his hunt starts killing off people that she's connected with. And it starts becoming obvious that Michael Myers is back. She starts having a hunch that he's back, and then once she realizes it goes full on to prevent Michael Myers from killing her and her family, and trying to amend the situation. So yeah, Halloween H20 is fun. It's done a little differently than the other slasher films. The body count is not that big in this. I've always seen this film like 2 or 3 times, so it's been a while since I watched it and checked it out. So when I was watching it, I was surprised. It was set up more like almost like a creature feature where you have the establishing characters and you're there to you really get a feel for the characters. They do a good job at writing like majority of the main characters anyways, so you have a feel. Even some of the supporting ones, like Lil Cool J plays like a security guard. He has a little bit of the comic relief and stuff, and he really does a good job in that, and you really feel for it once they start getting killed off and stuff. It makes the impact even more, and I like that of what they did with this one. Yeah, so that was cool. And then there's like the kills that you see on screen are actually pretty inventive too. That's the one good thing about the Halloween franchise. They always do inventive kills and stuff. Like right off the bat, you had a hockey skate to a kid's face, and then there's like later on there's like the girl that gets like her boyfriend's like dead. She finds her boyfriend dead, and then Michael comes up and kills her and hangs her in the kitchen, and her friend finds her. And that was a pretty creative way on how to do it and show the ruthlessness of Michael Myers even 20 years later. It was pretty interesting. And yeah, the way how her son is trying to help her like cope and move on, and he sort of doesn't really believe. And then once that he starts realizing it, and then everyone slowly starts realizing it, adds way more of an impact. And the final fight scene between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers is actually pretty well done, really well like choreographed and stuff. The practical effects in this are pretty good too. It just takes a while to get to those points, but I think they do a good job building the relationship between the audience and the characters in the story, so it adds that extra impact, and that makes you feel more for the characters and stuff, especially like the older ones that return and stuff. Yeah, the pacing is a little slow. Some people might not like that as much, but as far as I'm aware, most people still enjoy this one better than some of the other sequels and remakes out there. So this one, for me, it's not the worst sequel, but it's definitely, some of the other ones are better. It's sort of like the middle of the road of the franchise. There's like 10 or 11 films in the franchise right now, and they're coming out with another one. But yeah, it's like middle of the road. It's not terrible like some of the other ones I've talked about, and I know I haven't really talked about most of them, but it's still not like Halloween 2, 1 and 2, and yeah, but it's sort of like in between. It's sort of on the lines of Halloween 5. If you enjoy that type of like different atmosphere in this franchise, you'll enjoy this one too. Some people actually like this one more than 5, I think. And yeah, so for me, it's more like stuck in the middle for a placing in the franchise. I don't really have anything else to complain besides the fact that it's a little slow. It's a little slow. There's some pointless characters in there that we didn't really need to know, and didn't really add anything to the story. But it's just, that's typical for a slasher film, though. So yeah, but besides the purpose of it being slow and drawn out is to build. It overcompensates and does a good job. So, for all that being said, I'm going to give Halloween H20 20 years later a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I kind of wish they would do more inventive kills and stuff in it, and definitely would have added to it, but they definitely did something a little bit different, and not just full on assault of like a whole pile of people just randomly dying and stuff like in the majority of the slasher and the teen horror films that were coming out around the same time. So yeah, Halloween H2O is a pretty good one. There's a trailer link down below if you want to relive it, or if you haven't seen it, you want to check it out, it's linked down below. Also, my Instagram's always linked down below, where I always post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story. And yeah, I usually have the film title and a hashtag and the subgenre of film in a hashtag in the video clip. So make sure you follow me on Instagram to stay in the loop. Like this video, share it so more people are aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you've seen it. Let me know what you thought. Also, if you want me to review more of the Halloween franchise, comment those down below as well, what ones you want to see next. And also, let me know what your favorite Halloween film is in the franchise as well. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. And also, if you have any other franchises that you want me to review, or any films at all that you want me to review in the future, comment those down below. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, because you never really know what I'm going to talk about next. Now, this was just like a one-off. I'm not going to do all of them right now. I'm actually have that planned for a little later on. But yeah, I do have a couple other like the B-movie slasher films that I want to check out and voice my opinions on. So I'll probably get into those in the future. So make sure you subscribe, and yeah, hopefully they don't butcher the Michael Myers films like they've done in the past with all these new ones coming out. And yeah, so far it seems to be in good hands still, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, but until the next review, I guess I'll see y'all later, and cheers.